Perfect. It is going.
Should be at just the top of the page, yeah. Live, right here. There we go. I hear audio.
And then just share that, send that link over.
And you said you're getting audio?
Started in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So you haven't grabbed your dinner?
We need that louder.
To do that now?
Can you go make that louder? Yeah. Crank it up.
Important thing is just not to bump the table. Yeah, no, once the event's done, all you guys can clean up on here. I'm here because of that. Wouldn't that be great if I could just like, so long, son. It's like being in Britannica. It's like being in the library. Look at the microphone.
We truly appreciate you taking the time to be here tonight as we continue the important conversation about the future of Paris Union High School District, our schools, and most importantly, our students. Before I continue, I would like to give a moment of recognition to the many individuals and departments whose hard work behind the scenes helped to make tonight's meeting possible. Events like this require tremendous coordination, preparation, and teamwork, and we're incredibly grateful for the staff members who work diligently to support our schools and our community. I would like to thank my administrative assistant, Ms. Janet Rodriguez, for her countless hours of organization, communication. Yes, let's give it up for her. All of the scheduling and the support to make tonight possible when I was behind closed doors doing other work. Also, I'd like to thank our information technology team under the leadership of Mr. James Heckman. Let's give it up for technology. And all of our maintenance and operation teams here at Paloma Valley who did the setup and everything. So we really appreciate you and this outstanding work that you've done. So here's a snapshot of our agenda for tonight, and I won't read it to you. I'll give you a few seconds to look it over. So as we begin our meeting, I would like to take a moment to recognize our board members. Our board members and trustees who are with us this evening. Our board provides the leadership and vision that helps guide Paris Union High School District forward. Their commitment to student success, educational equity, fiscal responsibility, and long-term planning continues to shape our schools and the opportunities available for our students. The important conversation we're having tonight regarding facilities, modernization, and future planning are possible because of their ongoing support and dedication to our community. At this time, I would like to recognize our President, Edward Garcia, Jr. Our Vice President, Jamie Anaya, is not with us tonight, but let's give her a round of applause as well. Our Board Clerk, Mr. Anthony Stafford Sr., who is here in the audience. Board Member Steve Campos, who is not yet with us tonight. Let's give him a round of applause. And Board Member Charles Hall. Let's give him a round of applause. So at this time, I'm going to pause for our Board President Garcia to share remarks.
I kind of feel like you right now, we're in the center of attention all of a sudden. I do want to thank you all for being out here. I think it's important that each and every one of you have a voice to be heard. And we're all here coming together collectively, not just as individuals, but collectively together to hear everything, the concerns, the needs, and how to apply the money. I think we're in a unique situation where we could pass this bond. And I know I'm not supposed to go too deep, and I'm going to make this as brief as possible. But the more you talk, the more you tell us, the more our decision will be based off of that information. So please, don't hold back. Please speak up and know that we're all listening. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Board President Garcia, for those remarks. Next, I would like to recognize our dedicated cabinet leaders. Our cabinet team provides leadership across every area of the district and works collaboratively to support our schools, staff, students, and community every day. Their leadership helps guide important work involving educational services, business services, and human services. Please join me in welcoming and recognizing our cabinet member, Mr. Alfredo Andrade, who's with us tonight. Dr. another commitment at another meeting in the district. And I don't know if I introduced myself, but I'm Dr. Marguerite Williams, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services. Next, I'd like to recognize our outstanding principals, site administrators, school leaders who are joining us tonight. Our principals work every day to support students, staff, and families while leading campuses focused on safety, achievement, opportunity, and student success. They understand firsthand both the strengths and the needs of our schools, and their insight plays an important role in shaping the future vision of our district. We are grateful for their leadership, dedication, and continued support to creating positive learning environments for all students. I will call their names, and you just hold your applause, and we will applaud them at the end. Mr. Garcia Felix, Paris High School. Mr. Jose Tepete, Heritage High School. Mrs. Erica Rojas, Liberty High School. Dr. Thomas La Rochelle, Paloma Valley High School. Dr. Dodson, California Military Institute. Paris Lake High School, Dr. Pauline Garcia. Our Scholar Online Learning Academy, Dr. Tomasian. Our Pathways for Adult Life Skills, Mr. Ramos, Administrator on Assignment. And Mrs. Jones, Pentecostal Middle School. Let's give them a rousing round of applause. And at this time, there are many of you out in the audience. So, if you are a student, please stand. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. If you are a parent, please stand, of a student in the district. Yes. Thank you. Yes. If you are a community member, if you're on our COC or any other committees in the district, please stand. Awesome. And if I didn't call your group, please stand. Thank you for being here and supporting our district. We truly appreciate you. So at our last meeting, we gave out a document where everyone was allowed to be able to put their feedback. So first of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who participated in our first session. If you're new tonight, could you raise your hand? You were not here before? Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your feedback, your questions, and your honest conversation were incredibly valuable and helped to shape tonight's discussion. So here's some of the feedback that we heard from our first meeting. Every student in our district deserves to learn in a safe, modern, and supportive environment, regardless of which school they attend. One of the strongest things we heard during our first meeting was the importance of looking at facilities and student needs from a district-wide perspective, not just campus by campus. Community members consistently raised concerns about equity across schools, including access to programs, safety improvement, ADA compliance, modernization needs, and overall learning environment. Many participants shared a simple but powerful belief. If students across the district have access to the same programs, they should also have equitable facilities and opportunities. We also heard something very important. Facilities matter because they directly impact student outcomes. Parents, staff, students, and community members emphasize the importance of modernization, campus repairs, safety upgrades, and equitable investments across the entire district. Another major takeaway from our first meeting was a desire for transparency and education around the bond process. Well, tonight you will be receiving that transparency and that information. Community members ask thoughtful questions about how projects will be selected, how funding decisions will be made, and how the district can ensure fairness and equitability moving forward. We also heard a strong desire for a clear communication regarding how a potential bond extension could work. Specifically, how the district may be able to continue investing in school facilities while maintaining the current tax rate residents are already paying. That point is especially important because it directly impacts our students, our schools, and our community, and our taxpayers. We also heard loud and clear that this conversation needs to reach more people. Parents, students, taxpayers, staff, local businesses, civic organizations, community leaders were all identified as important voices in this process. Many of you suggested expanding outreach through social media, Parent Square, local news, outlets, community events, churches, Chamber of Commerce, school meetings, and student presentation. Most importantly, our first meeting showed that this community cares deeply about our schools and about our students. Parents and participants expressed strong support for continuing these conversations and ensuring that future planning reflects both equity and long-term community growth. Let's give yourselves a round of applause. That was a lot of good feedback, and it came from all of you. This evening we'll continue to build on the foundation of several important agenda items regarding our facility master plan. Before we move on, we're going to share a brief video with you highlighting our superintendent, talking about the vision, priority, and future needs of our district. And before I do that, talking about equitable spending, because that was such a big topic, I wanted just to pause, slow down, and share this very important slide. Over the last two bonds we've had, it has been equitable spending. Specifically in Measure T, we called out equitable spending. And as you can see here, in our Paris community, in our Menifee community, it is almost very much the same. The district and the superintendent is committed to equitable spending in our facilities. So wanted to make sure to share that point. So here goes our video.
Paris Union High School District, we serve the community of Paris, Menifee, and the surrounding areas. We are a growing community, diverse community, with wonderful students and great community members. We move here because we want the best for our students from the educational perspective and the environment so they can grow up and become productive members in our society. My name is Jose Luis Arauz, and I have the privilege to serve as the superintendent of Paris Union High School District. I really like Paris. I have been here for 28 years. My two kids graduated. They are product of Paris Union High School District. I'm very grateful to the staff, to the teachers, and to the whole district for the services that my two kids receive. Paris Union High School District established in the late 1800s with Paris High School. Now we have 4 comprehensive high schools, a continuation school, a middle school, a California Military Institute is each other school. In the last 20 years, we have built 2 high schools, Heritage High School and Liberty High School is already almost at maximum capacity. And we are forecasting we are going to have even more students coming to our schools, so we want to be prepared. We have been expanding and we have been using the bond money very strategically and always focusing on how we provide the best possible high school experience. We have a wonderful theater here at Paris High School, the Art Mechanics program, beautiful, nice building, FFA, culinary arts is a beautiful state-of-the-art where our students are thriving, they are excited, and you can see how happy they are performing to the best of their abilities there. The art mechanic also, everything correlated and tied on the needs of our students.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Pablo. I'm a sophomore here at Paloma Valley High School. I'm taking the project Lead the Way. It's the engineering pathway here.
Thank you to the Paris Union High School District for listening to their students and providing us countless opportunities in order to advance us academically and personally.
We love Paris Union and you should too.
The idea of this bond extension is we are going to get the funding to improve the facilities, to really satisfy the specific needs of our students without costing any more money to any of us. That is incredible. Developing the master plan, we focus on our priorities because there are still needs. We have the need to expand the classrooms. We need to expand the kitchen so our students, they can be better prepared. Right? Technology is moving at a faster pace. Not all of our students are going to go to college. So we want to provide those options for our students. And in order to do that, we need to invest in our facilities. The growing that we are going to have in our community and be prepared, looking at the future so we are not taking decisions at the last minute. So I'm inviting all the community members that would like to participate to have a voice because the voice of our community matters.
Amazing job. Next, we're ready to move on in our program, and I'm going to introduce Buddy. Buddy was with us last time, and this is the opportunity for those of you who are in the audience when Buddy provides direction and you say, okay, where do I go? You go to whichever school that you feel most connected to, that resonates with you. That's the opportunity to engage with the principal, to share feedback, to ask questions. I'll be roaming around as well. Feel free to stop me and ask questions as you begin to engage in real talk and collaboration in your groups. So at this time, please help me to welcome Buddy.
Good evening. I'm Buddy Gessel. I'm an architect with DLR Group, and I just wanted to thank you all for being here. I see many familiar faces from last time, so thanks for coming back. For those that weren't here last week, your time tonight is so valuable. You have the opportunity to provide your comments and share your voice to really shape the vision of where facilities go over the next 15, 20, 25 years. So tonight we have about a 45-minute time block here. What I'll do, I'm going to run through a highlight of everything that we heard on the master plans for about 15 minutes. What you will see around the room are all the boards that we reviewed last week. And if you weren't here, that's okay. We still have an opportunity to capture your ideas. From there, we'll break up into breakout session for about 20 minutes, and that will allow you to view the boards, provide additional comments, and take the survey as well, which we'll see here in a minute. From there, I'm going to share some of the draft results of the survey that some of you have participated in, and then we'll wrap up just with some next steps. All right, so what I want to do here is just walk through each of the master plans, and I won't go over every single item. I'm going to just hit the highlights on these. And when we break up, you can ask questions to the principals or myself as we have time for that. So starting with Heritage High School, what we heard at Heritage was, that safety and security and the single point of entry was priority on the campus. So what we see in the front of the school is, let me get this pointer to work. No pointer. Okay. So at the main entry, what we see is an administration addition to the building, where it'll be a new single point of entry for check-in, check-out and such. The other projects on this, on the north side of campus, are classrooms that accommodate the growth of the campus that's projected, as well as connect those buildings together so you can circulate between the two of them with Learning Commons and Career Center in the middle. On the right, we see a new career tech building as well to support some of the emerging CT programs. And then on the left side, we have an auxiliary gym and wrestling. And just to point out, for those of you that weren't here last time, a couple things to point out on the boards. You'll see some color coding where we have the new buildings in red, minor modernizations in the orange, which might be paint and lighter touches on the buildings, and flooring and that type of improvement. And then we have the blue, which is going to be a more major modernization, where it might be a reconfiguration of space or a deeper modernization of the building systems, if it's lighting or HVAC and such. The yellow is additional shade on the campuses, and then there's a variety of fills for the site improvements, if it's landscape or artificial turf and such. And then the nodes are also color coded, so anything in the blue is a new proposed structure of some kind. The green items are site related, and anything that's the yellow-orange is an existing building improvement. Okay, moving on to Liberty High School. So Liberty High School, being a new facility has less need on the existing facility, but as was stated, the campus is ready at maximum occupancy to the point where portables have been brought on the site. So the long-term vision for this campus is to remove those portables and build a permanent two-story structure that accommodates the growth as well as the replacement of those portable buildings. For Paloma Valley High School. This being your oldest high school, there's a lot of facility need here on this campus. Starting with the one-story classroom buildings on the bottom right of this image here, the replacement of those with two-story facilities that allows you to free up space on this campus so that you can have more outdoor space, more assembly space, more socialization space for students on campus. The two classroom buildings adjacent the parking lot with the solar would be accommodated into the new structures and a new performing arts center put in place here, similar to what is already constructed at Paris High School. And then throughout the campus are restroom facilities out in the fields and additional parking. I did arrive right at drop-off or pickup today. There's a big need for some additional parking and circulation in and around the site. Paris High School has gone through tremendous modernization and renovation over the years. You still have two older buildings on this campus that require some investment in. First, the science building. Not only to renovate the science building, but in the blue areas would be to reconfigure space to support the special ed students in those programs, to provide them with proper restrooms and properly sized classrooms that accommodate their needs. The gym is your oldest structure on this campus, so modernization of that building and the blue area, just some reconfiguration of the lobby to make it function a little better for tickets and concessions. And then some additional investment potentially in Panther Park across the road, which is district property as well. CMI, probably some of the oldest structures that you have in the district. So at some point you have to think about, do you want to invest in existing buildings that would cost just as much to build new? And so in this case, what's being proposed here is the demolition of the classroom buildings and building a new state-of-the-art two-story building, again, to free up land to really create that campus center for the students on this campus, as well as athletics that match the other comprehensive high schools in regards to stadium, bleachers, shade, locker rooms, and storage for the marching and all the drills and such. The potential of adding a performing arts center on this campus, as well as a new admin and library. Paris Lake High School, probably, if not the oldest, the second oldest compared to CMI. All the buildings on the southern end of this site are from the 50s, and then it's all portables on the northern portion of the site. So what we'd be looking at here is modernizing the existing admin student union in the blue, and then reconstructing the classrooms, again, in 2 stories with core curriculum classrooms, and then a separate building that would support CTE, construction trade, entrepreneurship, and I believe film and video production. And then the northern half would be redeveloped for athletics, PE, gym pavilion, multi-purpose room, outdoor areas, really creating a sense of campus for the students that attend this facility, and then retaining the adult ed portion in the far northeast corner of the site for that program. And I believe lastly, PALS, 2 more. So PALS, these buildings on this campus all require modernization. Some areas in the blue, a deeper modernization to address safety and security and single point of entry into campus, and then reconfigure some of these spaces to really serve the students at the PALS program. And then the last thing I want to mention on this one is providing shade at the hardcore area, as well as creating some shade in more of an amphitheater core and center of campus, so that when you arrive on the campus or you're having lunch, there's a campus center for these students as well. And Pinnicotty Middle School. So here you do have 10 to 12 portables kind of in between the field area and the campus. So we'd be looking at replacing those portables with permanent construction, so all the students have equitable access to quality classrooms. So those would be the red buildings here adjacent the classrooms, so all the classrooms are grouped together. And then there's a lot of need here for some expanded hardcore area, as well as some shade on this southern end of campus, adjacent the NPR and lunch area as well. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take about 20 minutes to circulate around, and it's really informal for this session. We'll have about 20 minutes. You can walk around and look at all the boards in detail, ask all the questions. You don't have to spend all your time at one board. You can circulate around. But more importantly, if you already understood and gave all your feedback last week, but you haven't taken the survey, you can grab this QR code on each of the boards. There's a QR code as well. I really encourage you to take the survey. And it's important that students participate. I'm glad there's students here. If you can, at the end of this, you can grab that off or grab that QR code and distribute that around and have more of your classmates take the survey. And it's really going to help the district and the board to get an understanding of what the priorities are for the students, for the parents, for the teachers and the administrators. It'll only take 5 minutes of your time at most. You can take it for all the campuses if you'd like. Each one will take just a few minutes, but it's real easy. You basically just click on each project and you can star vote it from basically a 0 to a 5-star. Okay. any questions before we break up and spend some time looking at the plans? I really encourage the participation. Your feedback is critical. We have taken all the feedback that we received last week. We've done our best to incorporate all those comments on the boards. Again, these are draft plans. If we missed something or we didn't capture it right, we're gonna get it right. So there are stickies and markers. Just write a comment out, stick it on the board, and we'll do our best to get all of that feedback incorporated and listed. All right, if there aren't any questions, we'll break out for 20 minutes.
Sorry.
Take care.
What do you guys think about it?
God damn it.
We don't even want laminate Like I said, she brings in all the dirtiness. And she knows it. Poor thing, she came out last week.
I wish I could get it just slightly better. I just tipped it back. I'll straighten it. The shade is exciting. I feel so bad for those kids there. Every time I'm there, I'm like, it is 100 million degrees. It's so exciting.
I don't feel that bad when they're walking around with their ribbons on. And I'm like, you guys,
James is getting a printer for my office.
what? She's asked for 5 years.
I said as I transition all the new stuff, all the new tech go in here, the new tech from printer. This is my Norman printer. Is the print shop going to be up running for next year, or is it going to take longer?
The plan is, our first project is the
so we're in there for a couple hours a few times a week. The other thing I'm working on there is shredding. You know how we have those shredders? We've got a big shredder over there right now, and I'm positive those things will work.
Shit, I would. I'm like so satisfied. That's staying as like our beauty room. Okay. Got rid of all this finals there.
Yeah, that the top side isn't really cool. Nurses and
I have like 6 rooms in here within the. This is pathways for all life skills. So for our 18 to 22-year-olds, special needs students that graduate high school. Oh, okay. So,
Yeah, I
right, we are right at 20 minutes, so if we could wrap up in the next minute and everyone take their seats, we will resume that. Alright, if we could have everyone take their seats and we're going to resume here.
I was here with the old locker rooms where locker rooms were peeling and we had all. So those are the locker rooms. Yeah, those are the locker rooms. We yell it through the gutter at the other locker rooms. But we have our new gym. I love that. We don't have good dance facilities or theater facilities. So when we have our concerts, we do in the gym, which is great. But we have, for example, we have our Pacific Islanders night on Thursday, and our concert has to move to Friday. Yeah, tomorrow, and we had to move our concert to Friday because we don't have the facilities to do both. So if we had a theater and a gym, that would be great. Yeah, and then also.
So how many have taken the survey or took the survey tonight? All right, if you haven't taken it, please take the time to do it. If you can share it with somebody else and allow them to provide input, that would be great as well. So what I do want to share are some of the in-progress results of what we're seeing with the survey. It has been live for a couple of weeks now. We've had nearly 1,000 participants, which is really great. I would definitely like to see more students taking it as well. Please share it out. So here's a breakdown of the participants. We are able to, and we'll see it on the next slide, where we're able to break the information apart to get an understanding of what is important for students and teachers and parents. As of today, though, we have almost 1,000, and you can see the numbers of participants by campus. Paloma Valley is leading the way, by the way. But what we are seeing district-wide are focuses on safety and security, which many of the projects align with, as well as teaching spaces and classrooms. So creating those teaching environments that are equitable and are state-of-the-art for students and teachers. And also kind of in that top 3 grouping is parking and drop-off, like I mentioned, the experience here today. And then the next 3, we're seeing restrooms, a focus on outdoor spaces and shade, as well as NPR and athletics. And then the last 2, and it's not to say that you go in this order or these are much, much less important, but we're seeing administration, library, support spaces, and performing arts just coming in a little bit lower. we take a little bit of a deeper dive, and we have the same categories on the left of this chart, and then the individual is taking the survey across the top, starting with community members, students, district staff, other parents and teachers. The darker the blue on here, it's a heat map, so the darker the blue, the more important the category. And so it's interesting to see that safety and security really scores quite high with all of the various categories. I do have to say, you are all hard judges. Nothing really has scored over a 4, so don't be shy. You can have projects that are important, but you're tough graders, I have to say. And then we're seeing teaching spaces, so district staff, even students, seeing that as a focus, as well as teachers. The parking and drop-off, surprisingly, parents rank that as a lower priority. I would think if I was a parent, it might be higher, but maybe as more of you take the survey, those numbers will come up a little bit and change. We're seeing restrooms as a fairly high priority in regards to students and staff as well. And then NPR and athletics, pretty high for students, but maybe lesser for some of the other categories. So it's good information that helps the board make decisions as far as prioritization. And then lastly, I'll wrap up with just next steps. So we talked about this transparency and all of this fabulous feedback that we received, and we're going to make it all available to you as we wrap up the master plan. And so what we're looking at here is a preview of 3 of the pages from the master plan that will go live at the end of this process. And so this left one will be the home page. There'll be 3 main tabs. There'll be the About tab, where it'll give some background of the process that we've gone through with you. There'll be a My School page, where you'll be able to go and look at all the campuses and see the proposed master plans and see all the feedback that you provided. And then there's a summary tab, which will have all of the data in regards to enrollment, to utilization, and capacity and such. The middle is the Find My School, so there'll be a map with a list of the schools. You'll be able to go in and see all these plans and see all of the great ideas that you have all proposed. And then the third is the scenario builder. When you go into that tab, the far right, that will have all the projects. It'll have dollar amounts, and you'll be able to run scenarios as far as what projects you would want to look at doing first, groupings of projects, and it'll help the district really determine and work on prioritization moving forward. So with that, that's the end of the master planning workshop. I'm more than happy to stick around a little bit after to answer any other questions, or if you put some stickies, you want to share some specific feedback with me, I'm more than happy to stick around.
James, I can't find one of the PowerPoints, so there must be embedded there. It's the one from Philbin. So next, we're going to shift to the financial side. Everything I know about bonds, I learned it from Jason, and I learned it from Adam, from Philbin, Roloff, and Associates. So at our last meeting, there were a lot of questions about how is it that we can get a bond and there's no increase to your taxes. So you'll be hearing from Jason tonight, and I want you to keep your ears open for 2 major points. How many bonds the district currently has outstanding, and when those bonds are scheduled to be paid off. Okay, that's important. The next one is how the payoff of existing bonds create future bonding capacity that could allow the district to pursue a potential new bond measure of $187 million. And then also, Jason is going to share with you is how we'll get the money, what phases we'll get the the money, and that's going to be really important for you to fully understand. So if you keep your ears open for those three major areas, hopefully it'll connect the dots on how it can happen without any increase. So at this time, I'm going to welcome Jason. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Williams, and good evening, everyone. Pleasure to be here. So before I walk through the mechanics of how this bond extension works, it's important to review what actually the outstanding bonds are that we're looking to continue. And so on this slide, this shows your oldest bond measure, called 1999 Measure T. And this was approved back in November 1999. Very strong overall voter support at over 70%. You can see in the bottom chart, there's only 2 years left of payments left on this bond. And so for 1999 Measure T, the bond payments began in roughly 2000, year 2000. They will end in 2027. So payments lasted for about 27 years. That's pretty typical for a bond measure. The payments are usually spread out over a period of 25 to 30 years. And so this Measure T, again, expires in 2027. And you can see that the Measure T on the left axis costs taxpayers about $7 per 100,000 of assessed value. And so if you're a homeowner in the district, you will likely have, everyone has an individual assessed value. It's a function of how much you purchase your home for and how long you've been living in it. Proposition 13 limits the assessed value of your home to no more than 2% each year. So if you bought your home 40 years ago, your assessed value only allows to increase by 2% for 40 years. So it's likely a lot lower than if you bought a home today. So you could look up your home value on Zillow. It's 99.9% of the time going to be higher than what your actual assessed value is, which is what your bonds are taxed on. And so again, this bond costs $7 per 100,000. If you're a homeowner, the median assessed value in this district is about $400,000. So the median taxpayer is paying about $28 per year just on Measure T. Now we're moving on to your next oldest bond measure. This one was called Measure Z, approved in 2004. Measure Z received about 58% voter support, and you can see in the bar chart that the payments for Measure Z last until year 2030. And it costs the community about $13 to $15 per 100,000 of assessed value. There's a smaller bond payment in that final year, 2030. So when you add the cost of 99 Measure T with 2004 Measure Z, it's about $7 from the previous slide plus the 13 on this measure. It's about $20 per 100,000 of assessed value. Now we're showing a similar chart, but now we've combined the costs of your 99 Measure T plus 2004 Measure Z as solid bars. You have we've laid them right on top of each other. So again, 1999 Measure T are the two black bars. And as I mentioned before, those payments end next year in 27. Directly on top of that, you have the green colored Measure Z bond payments. And those again only last until year 2030. So today in 2026, the combined rate again is $20 per 100,000. Next year in 2027, you see it's again projected to be matched at that $20. So taxpayers will see no change, should see no change on these two bonds for next year. Then in 2028, we see a bit of a dip. And you can see the combined bond cost has gotten lower because Measure T is now gone. Again, it expired in 27. So in 2028, only the 2004 Measure Z will be on the books between these two bonds. And you can see that solid bars have now dropped to about $15 per 100,000 in 2028, 2029, and then the final payment of Measure Z in 2030, it's about $7. So when we see the solid colors start to fall below that $20 rate, that equals, or that means future potential capacity for the 2026 bond. And that capacity is represented by the dashed blue lines that start in 2028. And based on how much revenue this capacity can generate, we project that the district can look for a bond authorization of $187 million over the next 7 or 8 years by continuing, not increasing that $20 rate on these soon to be expiring two bond measures. and we would look to extend this for approximately the next 27 or 30 years, just at the same $20 rate. Now we get into the mechanics of how this extension would work. There's a lot of info on the slide, so I'll start in that bar chart. And again, we see the black bars. Now I've combined both 99 measure T and 04 measure Z together as just solid black bars. Same kind of declining rate as you saw on the previous slide. However, in year 2028, that's when you start to see potentially new bond payments layered in to ultimately complete and reach that $20 combined cost for your previous debt as well as potential new debt. And so the dark orange, the blue, the green, the yellow, these are not on the tax rolls for the community as of yet. We have not received approval for that. These are projections based on very conservative assumptions. And so if you look at that footnote at the bottom, assumes a growth rate of 4% for next fiscal year and every year thereafter. Looking at the district's past 30 years, and that includes multiple economic cycles, including the Great Recession, your average growth rate is over 8%. And so having a conservative 4% projection is a good measure taken by the district as being a good steward of taxpayer dollars. You want to have a lower projection than what you're actually raising, because that ensures that future tax rates won't exceed what you project at your time of bond sale. And so you can see Series A would be the first of potentially 4 bond draws. And we would assume, assuming a November 2026 approval, the district would likely sell or issue the first bond draw in March 2027 for roughly $40 million. Again, those are those dark orange bars that are spread out over a period of about 27 years. Then, in 2 years later, in fall 29, Series B would be the second bond draw. Those are your blue bars that, again, fill up the payments to no more than $20. And then those extended until year 2055, so on and so forth for the Series C green bars and the Series D yellow bars. And again, all of these payments on these 4 bonds would project to combine that $20 rate through approximately year 2057. And Dr. Williams mentioned how we are not looking to issue all 187 million on day one. And that's for a multitude of reasons. One is the IRS wants to make sure that the district is able to spend these bonds as quickly as possible, because the district gets the benefit of issuing at tax-exempt rates, which are lower than your taxable mortgage rates. And so for the benefit of doing that, the IRS wants to make sure it spends those bond proceeds as fast as possible. So the district has to reasonably expect to spend down at least 85% of that $40 million within 3 years. So if we're looking at issuing all 187 million, the district would have to provide a reasonable basis to spend down that money by 3 years, which is pretty hard to do, even with today's inflated costs. The second reason is a conservative measure. We talked about the 4% assessed value growth rate. We all know what happened in 2008, 2009. This district's AV fell or decreased by 14% instead of rising by 14%. If we locked in your payments and sold all of that 187 million on day one, your payments are effectively locked throughout that period. And so you have no ability to readjust your assumptions. And so if you locked in your payments, assuming 4% growth every year, and you enter another housing recession or another recession in 2028 or so, those rates are going to fall above the required 20%. And so by issuing bonds in portions and phases allows you to prioritize your projects, make sure you reasonably spend them on time, while also giving the district ability to reassess its assumptions to make sure that these tax rates do not exceed the $20 that we're looking at continuing. So those are the end of my slides, but appreciate your time. Thank you.
I think Jason did an excellent job explaining that, because this has been one of the ongoing questions of how we're going to do this and not increase taxpayers. So I think he did an excellent job explaining that. Okay. So next I'm going to bring Joy from Team Civic. Joy has a tremendous amount of experience working in the Paris Union High School District on bonds and with our community. She knows it very well. At this time, she's going to come up and she's going to walk us through the community input opportunities, share information regarding our survey feedback, engagement efforts, and kind of share out what are next steps for the district. Also in your folders, if you open up your folders, the mailer is in there. Hopefully you received it at your homes. If you did not, you have it tonight. So please review that. So let's welcome Joy.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I know it's been a long evening. I'm going to go a little bit quickly because this information is actually intended to be part of the district's communication piece as they're going out into the community talking about this potential bond measure. We work specifically, my company, we work on the communications and help do some of the outreach for the potential bond measure to the district. I myself have worked with this district since 2010. I've also worked with all the feeder school districts, Romaland, Nuevo, Menifee, and Paris Elementary School District. So I've worked with all of your districts, including the high school district, over these past several years. As was mentioned, there is also an opportunity to take a survey here and get community input. It's on the back of this mailer. If you don't want to scan something and use your phone, the little survey here actually will tear off, and you can simply write your comments and leave it here too. All of this, again, will be used to help inform the board as they make a decision about whether to move forward or not. So the high school district, right, is here to provide the best service for the students in the communities that they serve, including Menifee, Paris, Romaland, and Nuevo. They provide a safe and caring environment, success in college and career training, and high quality relevant learning opportunities. That has been the aim of this district for many years now, and it's remarkable to see the progress that has been made, but as the communities continue to grow, there is still more to do. What do the students need? That's a big part of what we've been doing tonight, is you've had an opportunity to go around and look at the campuses, make feedback, provide feedback about each of the campuses. There are some fast facts that I think people don't know because there has been so much work done in the district over the years. There are still 35 classrooms that have leaking roofs in 2025. Liberty High School opened in 2021 and is already at maximum capacity. You heard about that. You heard about the portables already being added. The area continues to grow fast. Each of the high schools get impacted by that fast growth. And it's the difference between providing high quality, permanent classrooms versus having to put portables on each of the campuses to serve the students throughout the community. So the school district has been doing this process to really engage the community again and do a facilities master planning process that is comprehensive and provides direction not only for now, but for the future. As you know, they've been working with DLR Group. They are assessing the condition of all the classrooms, developing that long-term facilities master plan, and they are looking to consider a potential bond extension measure that would be on the ballot this November. I mentioned last time, GO bonds can only go on the ballot every 2 years. So the district would not have another opportunity to do something like this until 2028. And actually this bond extension opportunity wouldn't exist. It would be a brand new tax that would be built upon the old taxes. So the goal is to keep school facilities safe and up to date and do it in a way that is part of a responsible taxpayer, that is responsible to the taxpayers in the community. So this potential bond measure would provide that $187 million. And these are the types of things that could be done at the different school sites. And again, all of that is the foundation for the work that is out here on the boards and being discussed at the different school sites. You also heard that the district has been, over the years, dedicated and committed to transparency as well as equity. So making sure that the bond funds have been spent equitably between the two major communities. And when we talk about the two major communities, we often think of them as Menifee and Paris, but actually they serve all of the unincorporated students, they serve those students in Romaland, Nuevo, Homeland. All of those students are also part of this district as a whole. So fiscal accountability. You might be curious what is included in a bond measure. All the funds stay 100% right here in Paris. They can't be taken by the state can't reduce funding because the district has bond money. So that is the nice thing about doing a bond measure, is that all the money that is raised by the local community stays right here. It only serves the school districts and the schools here. It is required that there will be a project list. So if something is put on the ballot, there will be a project list. That project list will be printed in the voter guide. It will also be available on the district website. It likely will include all of these things that are part of this facilities master planning process as well. There will be an independent oversight committee and annual audits. Those exist already for the existing bonds on the ballot. You can always go to the district website if you're curious about previous bond measures and how those funds were spent. You can look up the oversight committee reports, you can read the audits. And the funds are restricted to school repairs and upgrades only, so it can't go to salaries or benefits. So as the district continues their outreach process, this is just one part of the communication. Again, there is a constant need to go out, talk to community. You are members of this community. You have an opportunity to talk to your fellow students, your fellow parents, your fellow community members. That is part of this process. The board wants this community engagement. They want to hear from people. Again, it's not easy, and there's not always a great time to consider whether or not you want to extend a bond measure, but this is available to the district, and it will give them an opportunity again to go out and do more great work at all these school sites. So we would ask that if you would take the time to do the survey or scan the QR code, then we'll be able to collect your feedback here. It's very different than the facilities master plan. This actually is probably going to take you 2 minutes based off of the survey on this little card here. So please do continue to share your feedback with us. We want to hear from you.
Thank you, Joy. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 17th, and that meeting will take place at our DAC, and it will be in front of our board. And all of these different boards will be there as well, as we talk to the board about looking at what school sites are asking for. So I will send an invite out. You're welcome to come and hear the conversation. That will be June 17th. I'll send that out. So on behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Jose Luis Serrao, and the entire district, we thank you for spending this last hour and a half with us this evening. We look forward to working together, and I want to wish you all a safe drive home and a wonderful evening. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate you.
Alright, I'm gonna do some cleanup, then I'll be gone. Alright, sounds good. Just make sure you keep tab of your time. So that way you can.